Last time on Paranormal Albany, Imogen takes us on a spiritual journey at the old hospital.
Moving towards the light.
Locals, family and childhood friends share their encounters on Vancouver Street. I try my hand at connecting with the other side.
To help them cross over. Amen.
And Gina and I are paid a visit at the old morgue.
There it was again. Did you hear that?
I did.
It came from in there, didn't it? We're heading down for a ghost hunt with our friends Jonnee and Bonnie. They're joining us as we go down to the Point King Lighthouse. This is their first, is this your first ghost hunt?
Yeah.
Roger. We're gonna head down there, it's just off the boardwalk, and have a look. It's a full moon tonight, and at 12 a.m. it will be Friday the 13th.
Hey baby, hey, boys say, girls say, hey baby, hey, hey baby, hey.
Oh, genius.
Nice.
Lyrical genius.
Gonna get some cheeseburgers.
The home of John Reddin. You guys ready to check it out?
Oh yeah.
Alright, let's do it. As we go through this place, guys, I want you to let us know if there's any rooms that you think you feel a bit of change in the atmosphere or something. And if we can identify that, maybe we'll set up in there. So there's another chimney connecting through the other room though. That looks out over the bay and it's pretty damn windy. We're gonna get some shelter in here.
When I was 15, I used to camp out at Point King Lighthouse with my best friend Stuart. Unfortunately, Stuart never lived past the age of 18, but I like to think he's still around.
So this room here is the room that Stuart and I used to try and camp out in, which probably wasn't the smartest thing because it's got two big open windows on it. And we camp out actually setting our tent up right here on the ground, obviously, and never made it past 2 a.m. I remember having to ride back along the bike track with all our tents and stuff on the handlebars, back to his mum's with his dog running off in the bushes chasing snakes at 2 a.m. So it wasn't always the funnest trip, but it's an important part of my teenage years, I guess. It's where I established that I was definitely scared of ghosts.
After setting up equipment throughout the building, we bunkered down in the front room to road test some of the ghost apps I'd been researching for the documentary.
Okay, so the idea of Spirit Box is that it tunes through the radio frequencies and it plays back to you once you've answered a question, and you can hear voices through the radio. It's kind of the same principle as white noise. We've got it hooked up. It's going to be playing through a speaker box. You guys hear that okay?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So we're going to ask a question. We would like to make contact with the ghost of John Reddin. If John Reddin is present in this home, in the old lighthouse, please make yourself be known through the radio frequencies we're tuning into. Now we wait. I'm not picking anything up. Are you guys picking anything up?
No, it's like racing sounds. It'll be the closest thing someone might listen to his voice.
Yeah.
Interpret his voice, sorry.
Yeah, it sounded raspy, or something low and raspy for a little bit. We are calling on the spirit of John Reddin to make contact with us if you are present within these walls. Once more. 1, 2, 3. We're calling on the spirit of John Reddin to make contact if you are within these walls. If you hear John, we're listening.
So much just like every noise I thought I heard something, it's kind of like, oh, that's just the radio. Like,
Yeah, I thought it's only the low ones where it's like. So the app we're using now is called Ghost Finder. It's another one of these free apps you could just download. And it has a radar, and I don't know if you can see that on the screen, but it shows that the dark marks on the radar are low energy ghosts. The high energy ghosts, which are dangerous, are blue, and the very high energy ghosts, which are very dangerous according to this app, are red. You guys ready? It already says that there's some low energy ghosts around us. One back this way and one to our left, which is just through that room. Says there's one out this way. Can you see on the showing up on the radar?
very fast.
Doesn't appear to be here now. Alright, we've got to get our bearings. It's back down this way. I think it's out of the building.
Where is it, mate?
It's disappeared.
Oh, mate. Bloody ghosts.
For some reason it's only working when we're inside the building.
Let's see what happens when we go back inside.
Oh, here's one.
Oh, he's in the corner. It seems like they're a bit skittish.
Bit Yiddish.
A bit skittish.
It says it's low level energy. 'Cause it's a dark spot, but it's getting a bit darker. Let's have a look. I'm not so sure about this. What? Oh, it says it's straight ahead. It's getting closer. That's strange. Because before it was in that room, it says it's right through that wall through. And there's another one. Can you see that? There's a red one. They're moving around us. The red being extreme and highly dangerous.
Whoa, it's a hot spot of activity.
It's a bit dangerous, isn't it?
Good. Rocks.
Let's have a look. Watch your step. There's a blue level one, that's medium intensity, but it still says dangerous. If you're wondering what that noise is, it's not dramatic effect. This is actually the noise that comes with the app. Well, I guess in that way it is dramatic effect. Okay, so this app is called Ghost Detector. It says prestigious journals have confirmed that paranormal high and abrupt changes in the electromagnetic levels involve the presence of spirits. Look at the graph and look for these variations. The spirits may be closer than you thought. Okay.
Cheers, whiskers.
Now, it's actually got a camera here. And it shows spikes in the electromagnetic field. So we're going to give these guys a break and we're going to have a quick walk through. I think whatever was here, or whoever was here, is long gone.
Or just a really nice guy.
Yeah, he might just be a nice guy. But you know, that's the thing, I guess nice spirits make themselves known. It's not always just, you know, the bad spirits that reach out and make contact. So nothing's up in this chimney. It's all worn out. Whoa! That just spiked. What was that? That was just here. See, it's carved out in there. You heard that too, right? This is where I used to have my tent. Right next to where we got the reading. And I always got so creeped out. Something about this. You hear that?
Yeah, it's like a squeaky noise.
What was that? Jesus. Okay. It's making that squeaky noise again. I think that's... I don't know, I'm kind of skeptical about this, but when I used the other EMF detector, it didn't show up anything when we were searching a lot of the other places. There were small readings, but this, as soon as you get close, and this is wooden. You can see, if you're watching me. Okay, it didn't like that. I think whatever it is, it probably doesn't like us too much right now, if there is something there.
Sorry.
We're sorry, and we'll leave soon, and we're sorry if we intruded on your home.
Sorry.
I reckon we should get out of here. Well, we got some, it started spiking, I started getting readings of the chimney, and then I was saying that's just where I used to put my tent. I could never sleep the night. We were tapping on the wood, and it started going off again. But the wood's, it's not electromagnetic
No, it's
kind of
just
field, it's wood.
weird.
It's an old place. I don't know. Do you guys want to come in and have a look?
Sure, mate.
You hear that?
Well,
What is that? It's not doing it anymore. You hear the whistling though?
Yeah.
Alright, so it's Friday the 13th. We've spent a good, hour and a half here scouting out the place. We've tried 3 different apps. We've tried the radar, we've tried the EMF reader, and we've tried the spirit box. And none of them have really conclusively shown up anything. Do you guys think there's anything here?
who knows?
Yeah, I don't know if it's just...
I think there's questions. That's what's here.
Before heading to Albany, Vicky, our Perth-based medium, suggested that we must visit a large graveyard on our trip, so I arranged to meet Dale C. White, paranormal enthusiast and local radio personality at Memorial Park Cemetery, one of the oldest cemeteries in town.
Tonight we're actually going to investigate the White Star.
Yes.
The White Star is one of the oldest hotels in Albany, right next to the Royal George. And you were telling me on the phone that it actually has a rich history to do with mariners.
It has a very rich history to do with mariners. The White Star Hotel was originally built by the White Star Line. Now, if that name sounds familiar, the White Star Line were the original owners of Titanic. And according to a lot of the local history and a lot of the local mariners and seafarers, every single ship owned by the White Star Line, including their liners at one stage, have come in here for bunkering. And that's just replenishing their coal. Except for Titanic. Unfortunately, it didn't even make New York in its maiden voyage.
Yeah.
And if you go down to the bowels, I'm told by one of the owners there, or the current owners, that there are pictures of every single White Star ship in the fleet except Titanic, because it was originally built to house the officers and the captains and the engineers, while the crew could go down and get well and truly sloshed, and the company would still make a profit.
I imagine they would. So upstairs is where they would stay.
That's where the officers would stay.
That's where we'll be going tonight.
All right, where are we off to now?
We're heading into the White Star, and we're going to be going to the top floor where local musician and all-round nice guy, Geoff Scott, is going to meet us and take us through the building, because he's taken some photographs up there. He works there as the sound manager, and yeah, he's taken some photos which appear to show some ghost-like apparitions. Good to see you.
Welcome.
Thanks for agreeing to meet up.
It's alright.
Here we are at the White Star.
It's actually shut, but there's a couple of crew at the back.
Okay.
And they're going to keep it open for us.
Oh, that's excellent. I really appreciate that. I see.
To get to the top floor, we had to scale a large staircase hidden behind the main stage.
Wow.
Waiting for us at the top of the stairs is Dave. He's the current owner. He'd also gathered a few of his staff for the occasion.
And also that, you know, the room with the fireplace, and then you go through the adjoining room.
Yeah.
In that second room, always something there.
I was just in there then, yeah. It's quite interesting. It's funny when you walked in, the door's like that, I kind of automatically put my foot at the doors.
One time I was doing verse 2 or 3 here, and I felt something grab along my leg, and that was in that room. And then we wanted to do a big wallpaper thing with old articles about the White Star.
Yeah.
And so I did a lot of research, and yeah, there was that little girl who died in Perth, got hit by a tram, but this is where she lived.
Oh. Brought her body back to here to bury her.
She lived here and she was up there with her mother, I think. And then the week after, her brother, who lived here as well, was swimming on the town jetty and drowned. So yeah, pretty crazy.
Yeah.
After further research into the White Star's history, Dave also came across the stories of 2 young women who had been evicted from the premises after unverified accusations of sexual solicitation. His research also helped uncover 2 separate deaths at the hotel, that of District Agent Dick Francis, who succumbed to a heart attack, and more suspiciously Christopher Eustace, a 55-year-old man who fell from his bedroom window in 1908, shattering his kneecaps and jaw on the pavement out front of the building.
There's this other area where I want to take you down, and it's, you know, I'm not too worried about things, but I went down there the other day and I walked into that area, you know, just testing the feels, and I didn't want to stay. So, you know
we've been given prayers we can try and stuff like that. I don't know if you're into that.
I think we'll be fine.
I'm agnostic, so
Yeah.
I think you need to have faith.
Yeah.
And I'm a little lacking in that department.
So all this is sort of in a state of disrepair, but these were all rooms that people lived in for 100 years or more. So there's a lot of history in like any old hotel, I guess, or hospital. Well, someone shut this door here, so this is the Dave's door now.
Yeah.
This fireplace and this door, so that goes into this one. I used to have my lunch in here, so I never used to worry too much about it, but this is different from this room here. This is the one Dave's talking about.
Oh yeah. It's a bit more still in here, isn't it?
Yeah. And the experience I had where that window came slamming down and all the colours that changed in those photographs that I showed you. This is it.
That's the window.
And that's where that thing was. That
It looked like a
electric
hand.
light was up here like this. When the light's right, that looks quite interesting. This thing here, the way it's all gouged out, you know, like it's just a window and stuff like that. And so what I did was there used to be a curtain here, and I draped it over the door, and I pulled this up so I could see here, and I stood back about here, and I took a couple of photos trying to get the light right, and like I showed you, the pink and the blue was standing out in the photos, and the colours were very clear.
Yeah.
And then suddenly all the frames went dark, and so it was like a charcoal, smoky grey, and I took a couple of photos. I took a few photos, and suddenly that window came smashing down, flat out, and the glass broke, and it fell out the window. Now that in itself is not such a mystery because it's an old window, etc. But it was right at the end of all the colours changing in the camera. So whether it was a camera thing or what, I don't know. But I didn't look at them. I left, and it wasn't until later that I looked through them that I noticed that you know, the silver light sitting on the top of the sash window there.
Yeah. Thus far, our recording equipment hadn't shown up much at the White Star. However, one of Geoff's photographs later revealed a strange image in the corner of one of the storage room windows. My first impressions led me to believe that this face may simply be a reflection of the photographer himself. Closer inspection of the photograph's angle appears to confirm that this was someone else altogether.
So to me, this is an odd room as well. Something about that area at the end of the hallway, and that's where I sit. That's where most of the things that have been seen have been in that corner there. So this is the old entrance. So it used to come up into here, and this is the original building along here. So this is where the White Star used to end. Here.
Okay.
So this was built on, and I think it was the 30s.
This area was added on we're going into?
This bit is an add-on.
Okay.
This bit was added on, and the house was built there, I think it was the late 60s, early 70s. So this is still an old piece, and this is the bit I don't like the most. So when we came to renovate this for Tanglehead, there was actually people living in squatters coming up over the roof and living in those rooms.
This is a lot warmer up here, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't mind this room, I think it's alright.
What about this end room though?
That's the one.
Yeah.
And it's not even so much the bedroom itself. It's the
Yeah, this isn't like, you know, Vancouver Arts Centres. Oh wow.
This is what I thought.
Yeah.
I came in here because they were going to do all this up, but they ran out of money. I don't know why that went, but it just, when I walked in, it just seemed like work had stopped and everyone went bold.
Yeah. It still looks like that.
Not going in there, man.
That should do it. We'll go back to the front. On our way back to the front, Geoff stopped to take a few more photos of a room we'd been looking at down the passage of the hallway. There's a strange photo on that table there.
I think it's dust. Oh no, it is a photo.
What that's of? It's a shark. Former patrons of the White Star Hotel 1918. Manuel King, skipper, hook in hand. Victor King, son, the old band master. Does it say band master? Band master.
So the old band master of
Bustleton.
B. Lutz, E. Lutz, L. Greaves, O. Gibbard, on board King's yacht Queen. Emmanuel King is the same man pictured in the historical photo in front of the White Star, trying to control 3 horses in the same year. Oh, I think I've seen that photo. The man in the white coat is believed to be the unnamed man.
The unnamed man.
Emmanuel King, Victor King, B. Lutz, on board the yacht Queen. Oh wow, you know what? I've never seen it. I've never seen this.
Oh, young boy.
Huh.
You've never seen that up here?
I've never seen it before. So that's why when we came in, and I was up here,
Yeah.
I took a photo of that about a week, 2 weeks ago. And when you said that photo, I thought it was dust. But I don't know, that's weird that they don't, that no one's, because that's
Yeah, why would that one just be
pretty
sitting
important.
there
Yeah,
as well?
It's pretty important. I mean, I would, especially those people being named historically in Albany, that's a pretty cool photo. Said Dave himself said he'd been grabbed on the leg. This is the room he was talking about.
I'm going to set up in this room while we're going. So I'm interested in what the cameras show up later while we were out of the room. Having placed recording devices and sensors nearby each of the building's hotspots, we prepared ourselves for a final sweep of the building. But first I wanted to ask Geoff about his experience photographing the hallway. Yeah, that was the other shot you took, was down there, and you showed it to me. It was almost like a slight arc of light coming across the camera, but you weren't as convinced about that one, that it might be something.
I think it was there, so coming out of that door, coming out of that room there. I think it was there. Didn't I take it from here, or did I take it? I think I might have taken it from there.
Yeah.
Which would make that room there, would make it that
So
room.
it's either this room or the one that we've got the sensors,
Yeah.
or the mic set up in. It's interesting that there's a house up here like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there actually anyone living in there now?
That's our offices.
As soon as you step in here, it just hits you with the heat. Yeah, it's not very inviting.
I don't know why I just I just got the buzz when you walk in and you get, I don't know, it's my own anticipation.
No, it feels like I'm in two minds about this stuff. Since we started doing it, I've started to think, well, maybe there's something going on. And you do find bits like right here, it feels like a bit of a resistance as you get closer to it. And I don't know if that's my own fear.
Because I told you how I felt when I came in there.
Exactly.
Well, it's good to be honest about it. I was open to the fact that it's my imagination running away with me. But when you're not thinking about it, I think like when we were coming up here before, I had not, was not worried last time I was in here with you guys just before. And when I walked in, as soon as I walked in here, I got in here.
Not picking anything up on this. You hear that? Sound like the roof. Maybe it's just rats. Do you reckon I should open the toilet? Oh god. I use my foot. Oh wow.
Is it gross?
There's no water in that. Oh wow. Okay, I'm gonna close that. That reminded me of a scene in Trainspotting. How about we take a minute just to have a listen? Do you hear that? Might have just been the others up in the other room.
Out of all the rooms we'd investigated on our expedition, the end room at the top floor of the White Star carried the heaviest and the most negative energy we had encountered.
And I was up there and I was like, I heard this voice that says, "What are you doing up here?"
Okay.
And this is the middle of the daytime.
Where were you when this happened?
Down that second room down the left. And I was like, just said, "What are you doing up here?" And I was like, well, someone's up here playing around, thinking it was this idiot here. And I went back downstairs, and it was only him in the whole pub. I'm like, "Have you been upstairs?" And he's like, "No, I've been here the whole time." It was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. And what did the voice sound like?
It was a bloke. No
Yeah.
voice, definitely.
Like an older...
Older, quite deep voice.
Yeah.
We just found a picture when we walked in earlier up on one of the tables that had some of the old mariners that used to stay here. Apparently Geoff was up here the other day and wasn't here.
I didn't notice it.
Well,
anyway.
he didn't notice
Do you know the
it.
one I mean? Do you want me to go and get it? Would you like to see it?
Yeah.
It's not the feeling, the one I get from the guy at the end. Is that skinny, tall type of feeling. It's not, the feeling I get from whoever's up that way is not
When you start that way down the end there.
the very end room on the left.
Well, that's where most things, or people
Skinny
say
build.
they've seen things that's down there in the hall, right?
You can feel the
outside-
temperature drop in the
outside that
room on the left. As soon as you step in there, you feel it drop a degree or two.
Why does that happen if you're not even thinking on that train of thought? Like, I'm not going looking for things or afraid. I'm actually going to take some crazy photos of some things falling apart.
Yeah, why does it suddenly prick your skin?
Well,
like
until
that?
that little girl grabbed me on the leg, I used to bring people up here for a joke, like just to scare the shit out of them.
So you think it was the little girl then?
Yeah, it was just to make it up. And then
Yeah.
one time I was doing the same thing, walking out of that room, and then somebody grabbed my leg. And
Holy
Cheers for that, guys. Sorry. Get creeped out.
Oh, I'm so scared.
Thanks for your support, guys, in all this. We talked about it.
It's really interesting.
That night's investigation gave us far greater insight into the building's history and left me wondering whether my own relatives might have tried to reach out from the afterlife.
You okay?
Yeah. And the end room, sure, it felt like, okay, there's a bad vibe here, like we're not welcome kind of thing. It was uninviting. But I don't know, this whole thing's kind of opened up a can of worms for me. I've been thinking a lot about, you know, the people who've passed away in my own life and whether they've come back, and the dreams I've had, you know, because when my mum passed away, it was a really hard time and I didn't really sleep for months. And so, and she came to me in a dream, and I've always wondered if that was just my brain kind of helping me let go, or helping me, you know, process, or whether it was really her.
Looks like Jonnee and Bonnie are up. Waiting for us.
What are the people around Albany? What tribes are there? Is it just
The
the name?
Noongar people occupy the southwest tip of Western Australia. There's about 36,000 of us. There's 14 different clan groups, including the people from Perth, and the people around Perth are known as Wajak people. You go over towards Bunbury and the Wadandi people, and you come further here to Albany, and we call them Menang people. And then you go either side of us, and then there are different clan groups. So as I say, there were 14 different clan groups, but we all basically sit under the Noongar umbrella.
Do you believe in ghosts?
I
Or
believe
spirits?
in spirits. Yeah, most Aboriginal people do. You know, when you talk about spirits, we see it as a bit different. As I say, they're alive in everything. Animals, the land itself as a spirit of its own. The weather. So
Yeah.
there's a very we live in that zone. Yeah.
Have you ever really felt like a strong spirit in your presence, or is it something you feel every day?
You see, it varies from time to time. When you're in touch with your community and your environment, I think everyone has the capacity to feel that oneness with a spirit from the land. So we've all got that capacity. Some of us are a little bit more in tune to it than others. there is something there, and it's unexplainable, and it relates to. And then I knew that I had the ability to listen to things and hear things that other people probably couldn't. And I thought, well, this is an opportunity now for me to expand my knowledge and understand that a bit more. So I've always been aware of it. It resides within me quite comfortably. I understand who I am. I understand that listening.
It's not
to
something
the
that you fear.
No, I don't fear it. It's if you go into a place where you're not supposed to be, particularly, I do a lot of travelling around communities, and I go into areas where there are places that you're invited into by elders, and there are places where you shouldn't go. And there are these spiritual places and places where you shouldn't go. You get a definite feeling of if you're in tune with yourself, you get a signal, and that signal generally tells you, hey, you shouldn't be here. And when you get feelings like that, you need to listen to it. Your intuition is something that we all have, but some of us are more in tune with it. This is an area, from what I understand, how people used to be.
We'll have a walk through.
Yeah, come through.
Yeah.
And you can feel. I can feel something in here already. I know certain aspects of our heritage and our culture are very important to me, but personally, I connect to my country really quickly and quite comfortably. But to understand it, what those connections are, is still an ongoing process.
Something I was scared of, though, in doing this is, and you see a lot of Hollywood movies and stuff, and there's supposed to be bad spirits.
Well, let me tell you that you've got a good spirit. You've got something around you that's good. And I don't know whether it's your mother or your father, but you've got a good spirit with you, and it sits with you comfortably, because I've only ever known you remotely, but in talking to you today, you've got something that is special about you. So there is a presence about you. You need to be able to understand that a bit more, and let that life and let that spirit not so much drive you, but be within you and sit with you. And so it's more of a matter of acceptance for you. You'll become more open to things in your next 15 to 20 years, that your life will change. And it'll change to become more open to things that are not explainable. Of course there are bad spirits, and there are bad things and good things in any life. We use smoking for cleansing areas and just letting spirit know that we're there.
And is
it wards off bad spirit.
What kind of tree is that?
Well, a sandalwood tree is a medicine tree. We see it as, it's still used by Europeans as, it's used by Europeans as a medicine plant as well. We use it as a scent, I've used it to ward off bad spirit, and I use it to welcome things as well.
I've talked to mediums who have done what they call Passovers, which is like cleansing, and to them they're helping pass over the spirit that's there into the light, because they're a lost soul walking the earth, and to them I guess it's the light would be heaven.
That's a debatable, what's the word, protocol that could be. Spirits, we have got no right to tell it to go anywhere apart from, to give you the opportunity to share space. And so if you associate in an area where there is spirit, you need to form a relationship with it rather than tell it to go away and to disappear. Because that to me, that smoking was about just warding it off and saying, hey, we're here for a while. We don't mean to hurt you. We're not here to chuck you out or do anything else but respect you.
It's more about making peace, you think?
Make peace. We've got no right to tell spirits to do whatever they I don't think we have anymore. Some people may have a different opinion about that, and that's fine. The mudar tree is a Christmas tree. It's an orange Christmas tree that we traditionally use. They generally grow in soft sandy soils, you see. And our people used to die from time to time, and we knew where all the Christmas trees were in our community. I got one growing in my backyard. And so we used to bury our dead next to these trees because it was easier to dig, and there'd be a process where the spirit would remain in the ground, and when the actual blossoms come out this time of year, the spirit will go up through the tree and out through the blossoms and go into wherever it was going to go. Back into the earth in some way, back into a tree that or a favourite animal that you had, or you'd become consumed by the world that we're in.
Yeah.
The one thing that encapsulates us all is the earth.
Everyone returns to the soil
Well,
eventually.
you've got to go back to it. You can't get out of it. There's nothing that has escaped this earth until just quite recently, when people are sending off their junk to outer space. But this world is our world, and you don't get out of it. You're retained within it. Your spirit is as well, and that's really important for other people to understand. Is that they're what you do in this world is important, and if our people, we used to live with the earth and make sure that it was protected and called it Mother Earth. It was part of what we it was a religion.
We're heading out to Camp Quaranup, the old quarantine station, on Monday. Do you have any advice for us before we head out there?
No, just announce yourself within yourself. You don't have to
Not
talk,
out loud.
You don't have to talk to spirit. It'll connect to you when it's right, and you'll feel a presence. As I say, I felt something when I walked down here just a minute ago, and it'll connect to you. Just announce yourself. So look, I go all over the place in communities. I've done a lot of burials, and I talk to myself to begin with. I say, am I doing the right thing? What am I here for? And if you are there for the right reasons, and you're not meaning any harm, no harm should come to you.
Having sought out advice from several different mediums and spiritual leaders, there was now only one thing we needed to do before embarking on our final ghost hunt. We needed a montage.
I'm gonna be the best. I'm gonna be the best if I'm gonna catch these ghosts. I'm gonna be the best. Paranormal Albany. Paranormal Albany. Running up and down the stairs, punching on a pillow, doing lunges on the grass, manly push-ups, doing fast, weird stretches there, get back to super lunch. Watch Lincoln getting ready for the last ghost hunt. A ghost hunt. Paranormal Albany. A Paranormal Albany. Paranormal Albany. Now I'm doing star jumps, playing with the blue thing. Whoops, it's on a cactus. Lincoln is a true king. One Direction getting punched. You don't jump, you don't jump, you don't jump, you don't jump. Oh, spiky cactus, not so fun. Oh yeah, fist pump, showing them guns like ooh, like Paranormal Albany, Paranormal Albany, Paranormal Albany, Paranormal Albany.
That was awful. I should eat all the bacon. Right here? Wow. Harley said if you're coming here, just, inside our own, I guess, to show respect and ask for permission to come to these lands. So that's exactly what I'll do. After settling in at the old isolation hospital, Paul, a local sports and recreational officer, agreed to share some of his stories about the camp's history with us.
She was in the room and something come through, went in through this door and out through that door.
So in this building?
In this building here.
And what building is this?
This is the Michaelmas dormitory.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what it was originally. It would have been the single men's quarters actually.
Oh, okay.
And apparently there was a little girl. And I went, oh yeah, okay, fair enough. And then about a couple of months later, I had a young woman who was coming out to get married here, or was thinking about getting married here. And she was telling me that just over here where the veggie patch is, used to be the the toilets. So you used to do the midnight dash across to the toilets.
I can imagine.
And she said she came out here and she was going over, coming back, whatever, and she saw a little girl out here, and she thought it was a bit strange, but went back to bed, climbed into bed, and then she said the same thing. Little girl come to the door, walked into the room, turned around, and then walked out again. And then a couple of months after that again, this is all within about 12 months that I spoke with these people, there was a young boy that was come here, and he said his mum was a bit of a psychic sort of thing. And he said, I was in bed, he said, I woke up, and he said, I heard something, and he said, I looked up and there was a little girl walking through the room. I had another guy, he wasn't very credible, to be honest. He just sort of said he thought there was a boy in the room one time.
Okay.
But no further detail on that one. So yeah,
But the little girl's a story that's cropped up.
That seems to be the common one.
We were looking for stories online and went to the Albany Ghost Stories page, and there was a lady talking about seeing a young girl out here when she was on camp, but it was the 1980s, I believe, when she was here, and they were staying in one of these dormitories, and the little girl appeared at the doorway, and they ran to tell the teachers, and the teachers said, "You're just being silly," and sent them back to bed, but I don't think they slept at all that night.
Oh, so that sort of corroborates it, because because that's all of them have said it's a little girl. She comes in through the door. Or,
Did they say what she looked like at all? Or
no, just long hair.
Long hair.
Yeah, that was the only thing. So the strange thing is that as far as we know, there's only 10 deaths here at Camp Quaranup.
Okay.
2 of which are buried up at the cemetery.
Yeah.
And the other 8 are over in the Pioneer Cemetery over in town.
Okay.
Which you went to.
That's the one we walked through, yeah.
And none of them are children that we can ascertain. However, whether the records were, they didn't count child mortality.
Yeah,
things,
well,
or what I
in
don't
the
know,
history of the quarantine station, I've heard rumours of leprosy and typhoid and things like that out here.
Don't know about leprosy.
Okay.
But yeah, basically any notifiable diseases, scarlet fever, chickenpox, mumps, measles, venereal diseases,
things that could kill you,
basically,
or just make you very sick.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Did anyone tell you about the other one? Apparently there's a young man that was crushed by falling rocks or otherwise.
No.
Supposedly another one. I've never heard it. I've never heard anyone ever speak of it. But looking on websites and that sort of thing.
A lot of this stuff is just hearsay and rumour. But we heard the story of a man being electrocuted somehow and buried
under the floor or something.
Under the floorboards.
Yeah, I've heard that story. I probably read it on the same website, but I've never heard anybody say anything that corroborates that one. So yeah, the little girl is the only one that I've ever heard that actually people.
So I guess that's who we'll keep an eye out for then.
She's the one to watch out for. That's just in here. Do you want to have a look?
Yeah, I'd love to have a look.
Yeah. This used to be, I don't know if you know, with Quaranup there was a quarantine station, and when the people come in, this is where the healthy people were, right? So if you weren't showing any signs or symptoms, you come up here. If you did start showing any signs and symptoms or whatever, then you'd be taken up to the isolation hospital. Around the corner there, you had the single women's quarters, then the married quarters, and then the single men's quarters. That was the one that little boy that I was saying said he heard something. That was where he said it was. He was in his bed here. So
well, the guy was sleeping there.
When he said he saw the little girl come in, and she went in through here, out through here, and didn't come back through this way. And there was a teacher asleep in here. The rec room. I was staying in Meredith, which is one of the rooms up there. And I was here one night and just got into bed, you get down to that sort of just drifting down into sleep type thing, and I heard this thing. And I went, oh my God, what's that? And I jumped up and I raced out, and there's 3 kangaroos jumping down the veranda. 1985.
Okay.
So none of this was here.
Yeah.
So, But I'll take you out to the old hospital.
So I guess that's when the school camps kind of started up.
No, they didn't start until about the 1930s.
1930s
It was used as a
Gee, there have been kangaroos here.
Oh yeah, a lot of kangaroos. It's their little personal 5-star restaurant. This is the old hospital.
And this is the one that was rumoured to have the most activity, hey?
Well, apparently, but I've never heard anybody. I mean, Ian says he'd never sleep in here, but I've never had anybody come out and say, "Oh my goodness, I couldn't sleep last night" or anything like that. So yeah. So this is the morgue. This is the original slab. It's granite. This is Joseph Grant. As I say, he was a Jamaican merchant seaman. And yeah, sorry, I'd have to ask Ian. I can't remember what he passed away of. But I think it was Spanish flu.
I heard that from Crispin when we were talking to him.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. He said Spanish flu was killed a lot of people back there, more than the First World War.
In the First World War.
Yeah.
And then this one is Rory Maguire. He was, underage sort of thing. He was 17 or whatever, and wanted to join up, and he had to have his parents' permission, and Mum wouldn't give it. So then they changed the rules because the age of seniority was 21.
Yeah.
And they changed the rules so that you could be 18 to enlist. So he hit 18 and he went and signed up. So his mum wrote a letter and said, I know I can't stop him going, but if you can put him somewhere safe until at least he reaches 21, he'll, he should be appreciative, sort of thing. I think she wrote to like the minister, the war minister or whatever he was, or defence or whatever. And and then he died of that spinocranio meningitis. So
so it ended up being something completely different. Yeah.
We did hear that there was a child's grave here somewhere, but we've never found it, and we've had people go right through the area, but
maybe that's the grave of the little girl.
Possibly, but yeah.
Okay, thanks heaps for that.
All right, thank you.
See you in the morning.
Cheers. Indeed.
Later that evening, fellow ghost hunters Jonnee and Bonnie joined us at the camp for a few drinks and a swim before setting out on our final investigation.
So we're getting ready for our hunt tonight, and this is all our equipment. If you want to come over here, Jane, I'll show you. Just setting up some batteries in this mic. This mic's going to go with Team Oscar Bravo. We are Team... what are we? I think we're...
Alpha Charlie.
Alpha Charlie. So this will be your mic. I'll show you how to use it. EMF reader, we're each going to have one of these. We've got our walkie-talkies, some sensor lights, that are the same ones we used in the other place. Headlamps, another microphone, some torches, some stands for our mobiles, which we're going to use to film as well.
Have you got your holy water?
I do.
So you're going to film me freaking out?
Yeah.
MTV Bon, think of it.
Yeah, Bonnie's way more interesting than me.
Alright, let's set up in this room. I reckon we set up a camera on this rock here, looking across. Come in. Yes. Roger that. This is Alpha Charlie.
Buddy pal.
What?
Just my mind playing with me.
What do you mean? What happened?
Oh, the shadows of the branches and the lights.
Hear that? It's strange. So this is the bunk. Paul was saying earlier there was someone staying here. They saw the girl come through this door, just walk all the way through and into this area up here. There's one door that used to open out, I think, onto the veranda out there, and then there's bathrooms. So we should set up a camera in here. Automatic fan system. You get any kind of vibe in this bit? That bit's a bit funny, hey? So this bit here is the door that would open out there, but they don't really use it anymore. The door's against there. If she was just passing through, she would have walked through this bit.
Oh yeah. Can you feel that when you walk in here?
That end bit?
Well, look at the feng shui of the room with the roof like that.
Just as soon as I walked through that door, it was really like heavy.
Like something bad had happened there?
Well, just like a really heavy sensation. Like, yeah, yeah.
If there's something that passes. Did you just beep?
Yeah.
Why is that beeping?
Does feel funny in there.
It does. Like it.
Heavy's a good word for it.
Hey?
Oh, heavy's a good word for it.
Heavy, yeah. I don't like being.
No.
We're all set up. I reckon we should go explore the rest of the camp, and then we'll come back here. This room's on. Someone's left the light on in there. And the curtain's hanging out the window, which isn't quite shut. Alright, maybe we should go back through. So you said it felt kind of heavy in there, like a bad heavy, like...
Yeah, like I didn't want to be in there. But kind of pressure on your lungs sort of thing.
Yeah, it's just this room.
I don't know why there's so much red ink everywhere on this place, eh? You seen that over on the floor where we're staying, and they got it here?
I don't know. Okay, let's try to have a seat in here and we'll stay still for about a minute or two and have a listen. Because it sounded like something dripping there. First, Jonnee? Why is the bed like that? Looks like people have been sleeping in here.
It does look like people have been sleeping in here.
There's a lock on that. True. like a little kid's writing on that. Wonder why they've got a lock on that. It's on both sides.
Oh, hell.
What?
I don't know. I'm so sure for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What happened?
Just shudder all through my body.
As you were looking up there.
Yeah.
Hear that? This is where they said the caretaker said he would never spend the night. Hospital and inhalation block. Now they got rising damp in here. Completed in 1875. I got a really creepy feeling when I was in this room earlier. I had a quick look in. So scared of cupboards when I was a kid. Dad had one like this. Oh, see the back? Do you guys want to check out this area a bit more? And we'll head into the other side of it. I'll radio in if there's anything strange. Yeah, it's all been bolted up. You can't get in.
Yeah, I think so.
And boarded up.
They didn't want people in.
This is Alpha Charlie. Do you read me?
Oscar Bravo.
We couldn't get into the other room. We're having a look outside. Oh, look at that big kangaroo. So do you guys want to do that room where you felt something strange again?
Yep.
And we'll go check out the end room.
Hear that?
Yeah.
Throughout the night, we had encountered a series of strange noises around the campsite. These seemed to increase in frequency as we returned to the
Charlie,
Nicholas
which is
room.
about to enter single men's quarters. Kind of feels like a flow through there, eh? Do you feel anything when you step in here?
This part feels okay. To me, like it doesn't flow. It's not cycling or anything.
And these motion sensors should go off.
Get a bit of a shiver.
Nice in there though.
Do you want to say a prayer or anything?
Yeah.
Just that noise there?
Yeah.
Oh, that scared me.
Okay. This fan should go off soon. You okay?
Yeah, actually, sounded like a girl.
Pause. You may have missed it, but what you just heard wasn't staged. There was no added audio and the timing doesn't make any sense. Let's take another look. You okay?
Yeah, actually sounded like a girl. You'll try.
Okay. And again. You okay? And again. I still can't explain this. I didn't hear anything at the time. I know Gina did, but this scares the shit out of me. Alright, let's get back to it. What do you mean?
I thought I had like a hee-hee noise.
So we were up here when you thought you heard someone say, like a little girl going hee-hee.
That's what I thought I heard. Kind of put a shiver down my spine, but I don't know if I'm just being easily scared or not.
When that guy was sleeping, this door would have been closed, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we should close the door and we'll sit and listen for a while. Did you hear that coming from the other end there?
What, like a creaking noise?
Yeah, it's probably just the building.
Like settling?
Yeah. I think we should maybe go out and meet the others.
How'd you go?
Gina thought she heard something when we were in there.
Well, we were in the end room, and Lincoln was just kind of walking around, and I thought I heard like someone say hee-hee, like, oh, it's really creepy. Oh, I don't know.
Might grab that equipment, then we'll head back down and go to the morgue and the graveyard and wrap up, yeah?
Cool.
Do you get any strange vibes while you're in here?
It's not too bad in here.
It's a bit grim. You can see the table, all the blood would run through these crevices into that hole and drain out. As we wrapped up our investigation, I couldn't help but feel a bit disappointed that we had failed to capture conclusive evidence at the camp.
How you doing?
Oh, exhausted and yeah, I guess it was all built up a bit as there's a lot of hype coming here. And I think, Bonnie, I don't doubt that Bonnie felt shivers up and down her spine. And I saw it happen. I was surprised really that the EMF meters were going off a lot more tonight just by themselves. I just had it in the pocket when we were in the end dormitory. Excuse me, and yeah, I didn't have any devices near it that would have made it go off, so.
What do you think about what I heard? In the end room?
Yeah, in the single men's dormitory where the little girl had been sighted. What do you think about?
Well, I feel like it could have been projected. Like, I was a bit creeped out and scared, so it could have been, my feelings playing up things, but messing with my senses. But I thought I caught like a little girl's kind of laugh, so that kind of scared me. It's kind of stuck with me there.
Yeah, you think you?
I thought there was something there in that room.
Around here somewhere, I've actually got the holy water, and I carried it on me for most of this journey. I never used it. So tonight, since it's Camp Quaranup, and the old quarantine station is supposed to be one of the most haunted places in Albany, maybe we should put some near the door. Just for protection. Who knows?
3:42 in the morning. I can't sleep. I keep trying to close my eyes, and then Gina's asleep, but she's snoring, and then it was like it stopped. But before that, it was like this high pitched kind of like adolescent. I don't know how to explain it. It was like a little girl almost. Every time I go to fall asleep, I kind of just falling asleep, and then it's like this loud kind of deep voice says something, and then I'm awake and I can't. We put holy water on the door before bed, and I don't think it's working, and it's really creeping me out. And Gina's not waking up. She's just, can you see? This is the worst night since we've been on this trip. I'm supposed to go to sleep. It must be about 5:30 or something. I think I slept for about half an hour, 40 minutes. It's not, I don't know, I don't feel it. I don't think anything's around us anymore. I swear that I heard a voice. I don't know, it doesn't feel like we're alone. I don't know. The next morning was hazy, and with the exception of Gina, none of us had managed to get much sleep. After packing up our equipment and bidding farewell to Jonnee and Bonnie, we headed north, making one more stop before returning home to Fremantle.
I think you've seen things and you've felt things, and it's completely shifted your focus. You know, you've gone, whoa, like this, wow, you know. But I don't know, I'd have to meditate on it, but I don't know if it was where you were staying or when you actually had a reading with the lady down there, but somebody has been trying to make contact with you both from somewhere. That's the easiest way I can put it. And you've also been to a place where you felt energies that people had a less than happy passing, shall we say. And you've picked up on a lot, I can feel it, you've picked up on so many energies and so many entities.
I spoke to a friend of mine who's a local Indigenous leader in the community down there, a Noongar man by the name of Harley, who...
Very spiritual people.
I asked him about Passovers, and he said, from his point of view, that we don't really have any business telling spirits where to go, and this kind of clashed with, you know, what Imogen had spoken about and what you'd spoken about. I'm not trying to start a fight, but
from another point of view, that's their culture. Whereas the way we look at it, we sort of, I suppose in a way we could be seen as interfering in their lives or telling them what to do. But sometimes if people are really struggling, like they struggle at death and they're still struggling, then they're waiting. It's like they're waiting for someone to say it's okay, you know, because I've sat with a lot of people with their families when they're about to pass, and you just say, look, and they're coughing and trying to breathe, and just, it's okay, everybody's here, it's okay, we'll see you again, it's all right to go.
He just felt as though that he had no place to tell something that, tell an energy or a spirit that
what to do, sort of thing.
If it's been there so long, you know, that it needed to go, when to him
you return to the earth, and so if your spirit's there, then that's where it is. I guess it's not so much, the Western perspective of passing over into, say, heaven
To the afterlife.
or the afterlife. It's almost as though they never leave.
Yeah, which I can see there too. But I guess that's everybody's perception of heaven and the afterlife is different to a degree. But I think, again, our perception is if someone's there and they're giving signals and letting you know, and you can sense that there's unhappiness, our role is to hopefully help these people to be happy.
White Star is one of the main pubs in Albany. Geoff, the guy who took us through there, he was down the end of this hall where all the rooms come off, and at the end of the hall is a window. He was taking photos of that, and by the third photo, that he took, the window slammed shut and smashed. The glass came out everywhere. And he went back and looked through the photos, and the third one, everything changes colour, and there's this translucent, almost blue, looks like a blob on the kind of handle part of the window. Is that a bad spirit?
I don't think necessarily a bad spirit. I think I'm picking up and sensing more of a very frustrated person trying to get something across the board. For goodness sake, take notice.
Do you think that's a poltergeist?
No, I don't know. Usually a poltergeist is a young teenage, rather a naughty, sort of a bit of a bratty child,
Okay.
But
this is a deep.
Yeah,
Because just near that room, it was either in that room or the one next,
Yeah.
the staff member said that's where he heard a deep voice, quite loudly, telling him, asking what he's doing there and telling him to get out, kind of thing. And he said he knew he was the only one upstairs, and he just went, okay, I'm out of here.
Now, that room where that occurred and the room with the fist through the window, was that very far from where the druggies were all squatting in the other?
It was, and they're all connected, so it was at the other end of the building.
Yeah, because I think I'm kind of feeling a very strong-willed and physically strong man who was sort of old school. You did the right thing, you looked after your wife, you looked after your children, you put money on the table every Friday. Somebody from very old school, and I think could have even been a sea captain or somebody like that. And he was very angry about, he's so upset about all these druggies because he sees them as people that are just they're like a leech on society, that they need to. Yeah, they shouldn't be there. They should be out working. Yeah, exactly. And he thinks they've got it all wrong. Their views, what they're doing with their lives. He's very angry about it.
In a couple of rooms down from that, on the way up there, and there's a little kind of cabinet with a mirror on it. And I said, "What's that on the cabinet?" And said, "I don't know." Geoff said, "I don't know. I think it's just dust." He hadn't seen anything up there before. I went and looked, and it was a picture. It's almost as though it had been placed there or something, because I looked at it and it was a photograph of all these mariners and captain and so forth, standing there with a white pointer's head and a little boy with his hand on the white pointer's head. They were posing with it, and it was from that time, and they would have been in that area, because it had Albany, and on the back it had all the names. Maybe that voice is one of the guys in that photo, because I don't know why that photo was there.
Yeah, I think so, definitely.
One of the other staff members said she thought she heard a little girl's voice asking her to come play, or it was like hide and seek or something.
Yeah.
If they didn't die there,
she could be looking for a mum.
Yeah. Do you think ghosts, they can haunt places that there's nowhere near where they passed on?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, they can do. Yeah. Was she buried near there?
I believe she was. Yeah.
She's confused. You see, there's confusion.
Yeah.
That's the confusion there with that little one. Yeah.
I was trying to fall asleep there, and it's the only time I used the holy water I got. I splashed it on the door.
Oh, you got some from Father Christian.
I did, and I splashed it in the doorway, and I went to try to sleep, and I
couldn't sleep the whole night. Every time I went to fall asleep, I'd just be falling asleep. And then it sounds bizarre, and I'm confused about it. I think it was just my mind playing tricks on me because I was probably overtired. But it sounded like this dark voice, kind of grumbling. I could just kind of make out what it was saying, but not quite. And that kept happening all night. One of the times I turned to Gina, who was snoring, and as she snored, it was like a little girl.
Really, yeah.
But just angelic almost.
Yeah.
It was, I can't do it, but it was a high pitched kind of thing, and I thought that was really bizarre. What do you think that was?
It wasn't Gina.
I don't know. It was a bit weird that her voice was going high like that, and then I was hearing this dark thing. And when I spoke to my friends who stayed in the next room that night because they helped on the ghost hunt, Jonnee said he couldn't sleep because we were snoring so loud. It sounded like we were having a conversation.
Oh, that's interesting.
He said it sounded like we were talking all night, but we weren't. Because Gina was asleep. She was snoring her head off. So, is that possession or?
No, not so much possession, but I think somebody was there trying to get your attention. Really trying hard to get your attention.
It was the only time we used the holy water.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I carried it with me for protection and stuff, and then I used it. The one time I used it, all this weird stuff happens, and I couldn't explain it.
Yeah, I think somebody was trying to break the holy water barrier, but not necessarily of bad intent, but just, please wake up, please pay attention, I need to talk to you. I think it was more like that, you know.
You think I provoked them?
No, I don't think so. Again, I don't think it was a bad spirit, but it was somebody, I need to talk to you, you're here, you're picking up on me, let me tell you things.
My experience in Albany had given me a whole new perspective on the afterlife. The people and the stories we'd encountered along the way had made it all the more worthwhile an adventure. I don't think anyone truly does know what's waiting for us on the other side, but I still feel there's so much more to uncover in Paranormal Albany.